Hi, I'm Mariana Searle. I am a psychologist and also have a master's degree in behavior analysis. And I have dedicated 33 years of my life to psychotherapy and have done over 36,000 therapeutic consultations. So by this time, I have gathered, I think, a pretty good idea about how the human mind works. So I'm really happy today to be able to invite you to my free webinar on Wednesday about the 3 biggest misconceptions my clients have about anxiety after searching through the internet. Okay, so click this link right down here and register for my free webinar on Wednesday. And if you stay till the end, I will send you a private video on how I understood and solved by myself my own social anxiety problem. My results are not typical and I cannot guarantee the solution to any psychological problem. My products are only meant to be a guide. So here we have this man thinking, doing like a wrap up of his life, and thinking that everything is wrong.
It can be a man or a woman, right?
Right. Yeah, could be anybody. Everything is wrong. My life is a disaster, and I am a disaster. Actually, I am somebody not worthy, and
this happens when you put together all your catastrophic thoughts in your mind?
Yes, it would be like a way of analyzing every, important issues in my life in which I'm, analyzing it in a certain way in which that situation, the meaning that I give, to that situation would be catastrophical. Okay, so for example, in a relationship that I'm going to be abandoned by my spouse or my mate, so I will be lonely, I will be sad. My children are going to the pool today and I'm fearing that they're not going to be okay, so that there would be danger and I would be in panic. Then, I would be anxious about my children going, and just doing their normal things that they do in life, but then I would be, anxious about that, and also fearing, to be ruined, like fearing to be poor, to be at risk, that something could really happen, like a bad accident. So that is all, like, that's a set of conclusions and about my life in general. So it would be like a catastrophic conclusion, actually, in which I turn to think that everything is wrong and that everything is going wrong in my life, and it's a disaster. And the way I show this slide is about to show someone how sometimes anxiety has to do with the structure of the thought process. I'm certain that, in talking to this person, we could find out if you go to the, to the detail of the observations or the perceptions that this person has about their life, you probably could, help him or help her find a different way to look at things. And sometimes, this person would be like totally convinced that this is going on, and that that actually life would turn out to be this, whole array of terrible situations. So everything is going wrong with my life. My life is a disaster. It's a feeling of a catastrophe, that everything is wrong. So, and like I was saying before, sometimes we in certain situations, this could also have to do with a habit, a way of looking at things in which I tend to look at all the positive and negative situations that could occur, and it's not about it's not about reality, what I'm really experiencing today. It's about fears. It's about fear of abandonment. It's about fear of danger. It's about fear of pain. It's about fear of, ruin. It's about fears. So in reality, helping someone be conscious about the way they're thinking about things, and how to, take each situation, separately, and give that situation a moment of analysis to find out that that things aren't, the way I depict them to myself. A lot of times people say, "Oh, it was so good to talk to you because I'm relaxed right now. I'm not, fearing the way I was fearing when I came in." So I think this is a very usual situation in humans. Sometimes we just tend to analyze things, the events in our life, and anything in a negative way. A negative way meaning that I'm only considering the possibility that it would go wrong. And everything could go wrong. Like in every realm of my life, everything could go wrong. Or is going wrong, when in real life it's different. It could, the situation could deserve a further analysis, and to find out a different perspective to look at that, fact.
Yeah.
So this is workable. I would call this like a catastrophic reaction. Sometimes we just feel that everything is wrong, and that
everything's gonna blow up, and our life is going terrible because just one big worrisome, right? One big catastrophic thought that everything is gonna collapse, right? Everything we've worked on and everything can possibly just go away in a matter of days or seconds or catastrophic circumstances. I think we've all had this, and it can be terrible, but to suffer it every day must be even more terrible.
I mean, this is about working with someone in which those situations are in abstract form, and that means that they're not happening in the real life. It's different when you actually have had a car accident, and what would be the the consequences of that. It's totally different when I am in a real situation in which maybe I have lost a dear one to like an accident, like like a swimming accident, for example. It's not the same when I have experienced abandonment from real situation.
Yeah.
But like I was saying before, maybe that way of looking at things may have to do with earlier stuff in my life, so that I could maybe work to find out if it is related to, for example, real abandonment, and then maybe I'm just fearing like the repetition of a pattern, in which my relationships end up by abandonment. However, this is about a situation in which imagining things and the way I analyze things, I'm concluding that everything is wrong. It's like a conclusion. It's like I wrap up everything and put everything in one same category. Everything is wrong. And the feeling of anxiety that conclusion will bring is even greater.
Yeah, I think we've all felt that, but it can cause a lot of problems, I think, and maybe can cause people to do things to sort of forget about these problems, like avoidance behavior and maybe substance abuse or maybe. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Then that could be another topic also. Addictions and emotional and believing that you find some way of emotional support in drugs or substances or relationships or something else. That's a whole new topic of conversation. How we sometimes we deal with our inner problems, with doing things to ease, to relieve our anxiety, but it doesn't go away. It's like you look into something that made you feel okay, but doesn't make the whole thing okay. Like an addiction. You will go over and over again as a repetition and try to reproduce the feeling of relaxation that you could get from it. But in the end, it gives you more anxiety because you're not really solving, the other side of the coin, that is how I look at myself and how I feel about myself and how I think that I could solve my real issues.
You're not solving anything. You're just covering it up, right?
In a way, yeah. It's not, of course, it's not done on purpose. It's just that when I encounter, something that will alleviate my pain in a certain way, I will think that I need that behavior, to repeat that behavior.
Yeah.
But like we've been talking about this throughout this webinar, actually. Sorry, it's not about. It's about really going deeply to solve your own issues.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. And this is what we call rumination. It's all the if I hadn't, this wouldn't have happened. If I had done things differently, things wouldn't be the way they are today. Of course, this leaves out real situations in which I do realize that I did something wrong and that maybe that I hurt someone and hurt myself, and are willing to repair and do things in a different way.
Yeah.
This slide shows more, someone who analyzes their life and is like, regretting the way things are, but not having done anything wrong, but then just kind of putting guilt on themselves about thinking that they should have done things differently. And usually when people are in this rumination dimension, they would like just analyze their life or the day at the end of the day and focus on the things that they did and how they should have done them differently. And it really is like it becomes very painful as a way to say to yourself that you're doing things wrong, actually. It's like taking a piece of a piece of information from your real life and analyzing it to evaluate yourself and think and conclude that you didn't do things the right way.
Now, this happens to me all the time, all the time. I'm always trying to figure out what I should have done and what I could have done to make my life better or different now, right? So I'm constantly like blaming, like as if in the past I had the information that I have now, or why couldn't I see it? Why couldn't I? No, it was so obvious. To me, it's obvious now because I have the information, right? But coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? You never can.
It is about, that's rumination, because it's about, with, like you were saying, with current information, to go back and evaluate yourself for what you did negatively because you didn't do it the right way. But how could you have known? It's like, I think that people usually try to do their best to solve things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't turn out to be the best, and maybe then I have an opportunity to find out and fix it. But however, this is more ruminating. It's like going over and over about your life issues or what you did throughout the day, and like recriminating yourself because you didn't do it the right way.
You didn't work enough.
Right,
you didn't stretch enough.
Exactly. It's more about that. It's like something that it's going on continuously.
You're never gonna do enough work you can physically do in a day, right? So you will always be able to blame yourself.
Right. So this is like a mental habit that will also leave its consequences in accumulated anxiety. Because I'm all the time thinking that I didn't do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's not about doing the right thing. I think actually it's about, going to, like living, being conscious and trying to do your best. Sometimes things just have to turn out the way they should. And especially when people begin, like a therapy process, they'll say that they should have done things differently. It's like, hanging like a guilt trip on yourself. It's like I should have done things in a different way, but how could you have known?
Yeah, how could
If you have known, at least what I say, in my clinical experience, I have never encountered someone who would, on purpose, do harm to themselves. Not even someone who does harm themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you would do it on purpose. I think those are ways to deal with really stressful situations. However, this is more, rumination is more about, self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Evaluating your past negatively, like bringing stuff to the present to analyze it and to just feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
So it could be like a habit of analyzing things just to feel bad about yourself.
Yeah. It can get addictive, right?
It could be a habit, I think. I don't know if it would be an addiction.
Torturing, but it's the strong emotions that it evokes, right?
You could find ways to escape, this analysis by maybe, using a drug to make your thought process stop and stop doing that.
Yeah.
And what else do we have? I think that's it. Those were the last two situations that we had left to show and to maybe, elaborate about what it is.
Yeah.
So
the last thing would be the final question and answer we have for you, Mariana.
Okay.
And those would be we will try to touch on the final questions anyone that has this course would have. Of course, we would want your feedback on what we can add to the course. And in previous and further versions that you're going to be able to access if you purchase this course. And that's it, Mariana. Thank you much for these drawings. It's been very helpful. See you in the last question and answer.
You're welcome. See you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.